Welcome to Pawpaw's Workshop. You know, in the day-to-day activities of the shop, all the different shop jigs and things that you have in it work just fine. But every now and then you have that one situation where you need a specialized jig or a specialized sled. And today is just such a case. My son recently designed a dining room table, and the legs on that table are a little bit unusual. He built a model again, and this is overemphasized, but the legs on this table come in at a 5-degree angle, and if you look at the end of the table, they also come in at a 5-degree angle. So that made it a little bit challenging to be able to cut those legs to the proper length and be able to fit them into the rest of the table. So today I'm going to do a real quick video and show you how I had to do a specialized sled and make that cut. Let's get started. Now this video is not for instructional purposes at all. It's not a tutorial, and by no means should you try this at home. This potentially could be very dangerous, and I don't want to see anybody hurt at all. So this is strictly entertainment only. I hope you can get a little bit of entertainment out of this on what my son and I did in the shop. This is a Patreon video that I posted on the Patreon site, being able to show some of the behind-the-scene craziness that goes on in the shop. One segment in the video actually is just unedited, and it just goes all the way through, showing the actual cut of this table leg. Now, I'm not showing the whole build of the table itself, just to be able to get these legs cut. And that was a pretty interesting challenge. Again, behind the scenes, for the Patreon viewers, but I wanted to give everybody on the YouTube a chance to see some of the things that I post on the Patreon page. I want to give you a quick overview. This is the leg clamped in place, and this is the cut that I actually need to make. Now this is actually a vertical cut, while the leg itself has to remain at a 5-degree angle. The ribbon on this table is also on the outside cut at a 5-degree angle. Now I have that joint loosened so that you can actually see it. But the outside of this ribbon is tapered at a 5-degree angle in both directions, while the inside is vertical. And you can see that clearly in the picture. These legs taper with that 5-degree angle, and that made it very, very challenging to be able to get this cut to be able to correspond to a vertical position while the leg remained at a 5-degree angle. So the only way to be able to do that was to be able to make a specialized jig. Now the first part was easy, but the challenge is I couldn't use this miter saw. This miter saw cannot do the compound angles, so having this table and this saw in place wouldn't work. All I can do is just turn this saw left and right to an angle, but I cannot tilt the blade. So I had to switch and use a different miter saw because I needed to be able to cut the compound angle first, and that was actually the easy part. So it was on to the other miter saw that I have in the shop, but we had to set up a temporary table. And this temporary table existed of nothing more than a 2x4 clamped to the workbench, and we could actually set up a little guide clamped in to be able to cut it. And again, this is the easy part. This is nothing more than cutting the compound angle at the 5 degrees going in both directions. Now, since this was my son's design, I drug him back into the shop to help build this and cut these angles. But again, this is the easy part. The blade tilts at a 5-degree angle, while the table part itself actually goes at a 5-degree angle. And the funny part is, I think you caught it there, the hose fell off of the vacuum. So we had dust going everywhere in the shop for that last cut. Now this is the actual jig that I designed. this has a 5-degree angle that I made where it will be able to be pushed along the fence. And then on the other side, I have it where these blocks are in place to be able to hold that leg at a 5-degree angle also. And I needed 2 blocks because the legs would be the opposite way depending on how you're cutting them. Now the plan was just to be able to take a clamp and clamp this table leg in place and be able to slide it through the table saw. Unfortunately, that did not work. We ended up having to use a whole lot more clamps to be able to keep this table leg in place. So let me show you this.
This craziness. Are you filming right now?
Yep.
Oh, see, we should leave all this in without editing. Do you want assistance with this cut? Like.
Now, it did require putting on quite a few more clamps to be able to keep this board stable. And the blade is at the maximum height so that I can cut to the required 3 inches that I need. Now, as far as cutting this, it looks far worse than what it is because it is actually fairly safe to be able to cut. Now, because I'm cutting 3 inches at a time, I'm having to move this jig through the table saw very, very slowly. And it still is creating a little bit of a berm with a brand new saw blade. And I certainly do not recommend anyone trying to do this at home because the potential for something coming loose is high. Okay, there you go. This is definitely a do not try at home.
Yeah, big old warning across it.
Show it where you get the 5-degree angles.
Two more to go.
It's always fun having my son in the shop. I never know what to expect and what type of projects we're going to be doing.
Reverse the whole thing, do it on the side, right?
Yeah.
Well, here's a question, Dad. Could we just clamp it on the opposite side?
Well, I gotta look at this because, look, that's the angle.
Yeah, and it's the right side, correct? Yeah, it's the right side.
Uh-huh.
Let's clamp it on this side.
Now,
Are the clamps enough to hold it?
well, we're going to have to do the same thing. We got to clamp down here at the bottom.
Yeah, what I'm saying, instead of flipping the whole machine around.
Yeah. It'll still cut. There's still 3 inches.
Yeah, I was saying as far as, like, I knew this was put in as a backer so it didn't move.
Yeah, well, we may have to help it out. I don't know. Okay. And take a look. We might have As a young person, you can't stay off the cell phone, even in the shop, while we're figuring out a change in the layout for this jig. As it turned out, we don't need to flip it around. All I need to do is put in that block right there to be able to hold it and keep it from moving. And that's the mechanical hold. And then we still need the rest of the clamp to keep it in place. But I think that is going to work. Nothing like being able to figure out the solutions and still be safe in cutting this. Again, don't try this at home. Yeah, put that up there. Follow that down.
We're filming all this,
Yeah, still filming. Now, the clamping method that we're ultimately using here is similar to what we would use on the CNC table. We put the spacer blocks in there to be able to raise up, in essence, our clamp to be able to hold that board in place. So although it looks a little bit strange, it's actually very solid and nothing can move. So this is definitely a behind-the-scenes look at some of the problem solving that goes on with my son's crazy designs that he comes up with. Never a dull moment. All right. We sure that's the right angle. All right, with everything verified, it was time to go ahead and make the cut. Again, this is the compound table leg with 5 degrees going in each direction, and now we're doing a third angle to be able to cut this leg to make it fit properly. Okay.
Oh boy! Not your grandpa's cuts.
And that worked perfect.
Good. See, this is the kind of stuff you should live stream.
I don't think so.
You know, a little bit of danger, a little bit of risk.
Okay, the next one, this one.
You should have an episode called Papa's Workshop, uncensored, unscripted.
Okay. Make sure that's where you want it.
X is on the correct side. Whoa, wait. Yeah, okay.
You good?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's there. This goes here. This.
Down lower.
You can see setting this up the second time goes a little bit easier. With success on the first cut doing this, it makes it a little bit easier to be able to set up on the second one. But again, don't try this at home. But this was a lot of fun to be able to do with my son in the shop.
All right, ready?
And
Okay,
yes,
check off.
we even go through a
Alright.
mental checklist to make sure that everything is right before starting to make the cut. Now this cut actually went a little bit faster, and I didn't realize that there was a problem at the time on the blade, but that soon became evident as we cut this and started to evaluate afterwards. So let me show you what happened.
Decided to rush that one, huh? What made you rush?
It started trying to pull away from the fence just a little bit. And it
Actually
felt
found
like
a
it was gonna
problem.
be
The
fine,
blade
so I
itself
did.
bent over a little
Alright,
bit
let's
at an
see.
angle, and that made it where it
Alright,
didn't
let's
cut
do this.
straight up and down, and you'll see it as I make this second cut.
Okay. Turn it back on.
Is it clear?
Clear.
Going on?
Now because the blade did not cut straight up and down, it made it where that was actually at a different angle. And you can see by running this through the saw again, and that blade remained straight up and down, that it did cut away the extra material necessary.
With the blade that high, it will have a tendency to bow.
Yep.
There, that's a lot better.
Yep. That's insane. Papa's dirty tips. What? No?
All right, so this is the jig. We'll show the jig, 5-degree angle. 5-degree angles offset here. Alrighty,
That's weird.
that's enough of the craziness.
Now the whole idea behind this table is when you're sitting at the end, that your legs are not going to be bumping into the legs of the table. We'll see how that works in the practical sense when this table is finished. But for now, it's all coming together and it's looking really good. Now all the legs are now bolted in place. Now use a threaded insert and bolts to be able to secure this leg. And you can see that 5-degree angle, and this is the actual cut that was made on the table saw. It fits absolutely perfectly. Now on this side, you can see again that 5-degree angle, and coming up to this portion, you can see the dowel rods where we pinned in this bottom member. Now this is glued and doweled. There's no nails or staples of any kind. But I think this is going to be a real good mechanical hold and last for a long time. So this did work out extremely well, and it's rock solid. I'm real happy the way it turned out. Now I want to show a little bit more of a close-up on this. This is a 7/16 inch dowel rods that are pinned holding this bottom member. Now this member is also cut at a 5-degree angle, and these long edge is also at a 5-degree angle. But those were the easy cuts. But now it's in place, and I'm real happy this is done.
Hi everyone, thank you for watching my video today. If you like the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below and the little bell next to it so you'll be notified on the different videos that I upload. Also check out the videos over here to be able to stay up to date on the happenings in my shop. So again, thank you for watching my videos.